I know for myself as a parent, and I know for many others, that there are so many moments of feeling unsure, uncertain. Am I doing this right? Things just, I'm trying hard, I'm trying my best, but they certainly don't seem to be right. And I struggle with that. And I have moments of doubt and really just being unsure and being very unsettled about that. And I come back to sometimes thinking about a model within the psychological world. It's known as Olson's circumplex model, and it talks about two different scales within, it's a kind of a graph. So there's two different scales within looking at family dynamics and parenting dynamics. And what it shows is that there's one dynamic that has to do with flexibility versus rigidity. So on one side of the spectrum, we have extremely chaotic, open-ended, there's no rules, there's no structure, there's no boundaries. And then on the other side, we have extreme rigidity. We have total kind of black and white. This is exactly the way things are. This is how our family does it. There isn't any other way. This is the way we do it. So we have these two ends of the spectrum. And then we have in the middle, we have flexible, and then we have structured. And what the Olson circumplex model shows is that so many of the people who struggle with different forms of mental illness and trauma and different types of insecurities and setbacks and challenges are people who came from families that were on one side of that spectrum, either the total open-ended chaotic kind of environment or the overly rigid and inflexible kind of environment. But actually, if you're anywhere in the middle, and there isn't one right way, but you're anywhere in the middle, that breeds the potential and the opportunity for very healthy and happy child development. That's the first scale. The second scale has to do with how closely involved are we as parents. So there's complete disengagement, and then there's enmeshment. Those are the two sides of the second scale. So we have enmeshment means I'm totally overbearing. You have no identity of your own. You are me. You are a part of me. And then disengaged is I'm really almost nowhere to be found. I might be traveling all the time, or I might be home, but just completely my phone 24/7. I'm just completely checked out. I'm not asking how you're doing. I'm not involved in your life. And then again, we have these two different points in the middle of engaged. But there's a range of engagement. And again, what the circumplex model and the research shows is that people who struggle very often come from struggle. We all struggle, but struggle more profoundly, come from homes that are either a system of enmeshment or a system of disengagement. But if you're anywhere in the middle of that spectrum, so that again leads to opportunities and high success of healthy and happy childhood development. And the reason I find this so helpful is because it shows us what we don't want to do of the two extremes, but it doesn't say that you have to get it exactly right. It says that there's a range of different ways you can do it, and as long as you're within that range on either of these scales, you are likely to breed and to create the type of nurturing and healthy environment that children will thrive. And when I think about this, I also think what comes to mind is the Gemara in Kiddushin. The Gemara says that there are gimel shutfin, shlosha shutfin ba'adam. There are three partners in the creation and the development of every single human being as a child and an emerging adult. And those three partners are, of course, his mother and his father. But then there's a third, and the third is HaKadosh Baruch Hu, is Hashem, is God. And I think that's so important and so liberating and so helpful as parents to realize this isn't only about me. Because if it's only about me, I run the risk of, first of all, driving myself crazy, of being uncertain and doubtful and insecure. And number two, I run the risk of projecting too much of myself, of overwhelming my child, of not creating enough space for my child to be who they are and to develop and to have moments of trial and error and to have moments where they do well and moments where they don't and moments of their own ability to have space to develop in their own way. And recognizing that it's not just me, it's not just us as the parents, but it's also Hashem. It gives me the ability to just take a breath and recognize that as long as I'm showing up in the best way possible, doing my best, and this is, of course, in no way saying not to keep trying really hard and not to keep learning and reading and speaking to professionals and getting whatever help and support we need. But as long as I'm showing up and I'm doing my best intentionally and consciously and mindfully, I'm trying to get in those two middle ranges, somewhere in that range. I'm never going to get it perfect, but I'm going to try and get somewhere in that range. And I bring God into that, the shlosha shutfin, not just us, but also Hashem as part of this. That's the recipe for really, hopefully, with Hashem's help, to try and create and nurture the right types of environments for our children.